Hey all, just social paintball. Today we're going to look at the Goblin Deuce, and more specifically we're going to look at the actual cartridges and how you service them. I haven't seen any videos out there that cover this issue, and it actually is quite critical how you service these to ensure that they actually work. So let's take a look at them.
Okay, let's go ahead and tear one of these apart. First, remove the shell, unscrew the top cap, unscrew the back cap, and in the center you've got the actual firing pin, if you will, but it also doubles as where you fill the gas reservoir, which is this section here. So here's all of our basic elements. In terms of serviceable parts, on the outer shell, you don't have any. Top cap, none. There's no O-ring or anything right there. The gas reservoir here, you've got 3 O-rings. This one on the top is most important. It's a flat O-ring. And then you've got 2 on the outer shell, which snug up against the outer shell in order to seal, and there's nothing inside the chamber here. Let's take a look at the outer portion of this firing pin. You have 2 O-rings on the bottom, and we'll disassemble the rest of this in a second. And then on the back cap, you have 1 O-ring on the very back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 O-rings. Let's go ahead and disassemble the firing pin. The top cap unscrews from the bottom here. Then inside this section here, you have a spring to remove, and inside the top section, you have the ram to remove. So go ahead and just push down on the top to remove that ram. And then for the spring, go in there and grab the spring, slide it out. Okay, so now with this all disassembled, you can see on this top cap, that's where you would be pushing down in onto the top of this air ram, and the gas would go ahead and flow down in here, compressing this spring, allowing gas to flow back down through and through the hole here in the bottom and to fill the gas chamber itself. When you pick up on the fill adapter with the tank on it, it's going to go ahead, the spring's going to return the ram back into a seated position, preventing the gas from flowing back out. One tip I picked up from Goblin Paintball, which was one reason why my cartridges weren't working for so long, is because this spring can become too compressed, so it doesn't have enough tension to close the ram after you filled. And you might have to stretch that out by hand. So that's an important tip for you. You might have to take this out, stretch it by hand so it's a little longer, so you have a little more force to go ahead and return that ram to a seated position. Let's go ahead and reassemble this. Go ahead and push in this firing pin. You can put the spring on the top. You want to go ahead and put the ram in with the open hole section facing the top, so the length of the stem goes towards the top, the assembly. You set that in there, thread the top cap on. Then you can go ahead and take the gas reservoir and put that on, thread it to the back cap. Now here's probably the most important part of this video in terms of servicing these and getting them to work and not leak. Before you put on the top cap, make sure that you push the firing pin out and that it's loose from this washer on the top. You don't want it in a seated position, okay? Because what happens is this top cap, when you tighten it, squashes the O-ring and compresses it slightly into the open area where that firing pin sits. So you have to tighten that good and snug. So now that O-ring is compressed out into this space slightly, which is going to enable this to seal. So that's very important that you do not have that pin in that position when you tighten this. You want it out and loose. Squish this down and then put that back into place. Let's go ahead and test this. Make sure it's not leaking. But that's the process. Now that we've serviced the cartridges, you want to go ahead and fill each one up with as much liquid CO2 as possible. And you go ahead and then reassemble each cartridge and load with a paintball. So look for the beveled end again. This is a 676 shell. We'll go ahead and put that on. If I size that to this paint, fits really snug. Underboring it a little bit here. Now those are loaded, go ahead and put them in the Goblin. Let's go test fire it. Safety off. There you have it.